It began as just another mundane day in court. Journalists sipping stale coffee, sketch artists shading familiar faces, and legal analysts whispering tired predictions. But in an instant, the ordinary unravelled. Cassie's attorney rose quietly, introducing an unexpected piece of evidence, a recording that would soon ignite shockwaves far beyond the courtroom walls. All eyes shifted as the audio began, filling the silent room with a voice everyone knew, Diddy's calm, confident laughter. Seconds later, a second voice emerged, chillingly unmistakable, R. Kelly. The moment their voices collided, every breath stopped, every pen paused, and everyone in that courtroom knew they were about to witness something unforgettable. As Diddy's voice, effortlessly calm and confident, echoed through the courtroom, an immediate tension swept over the gallery. Jurors, previously lethargic, straightened abruptly, their eyes widening in recognition. Pens froze mid-stroke as journalists, momentarily stunned, glanced at one another in disbelief. Attorneys exchanged quick, anxious glances, silently calculating the potential impact of this unforeseen evidence. Then came R. Kelly's voice, distinct, assured, yet deeply unsettling. His tone matched Diddy's casual ease, but beneath the surface lay a chilling undertone, instantly felt by everyone present. Spectators leaned forward involuntarily, drawn into the chillingly normal conversation now echoing off courtroom walls, a conversation so ordinary in delivery, yet horrifyingly extraordinary in implication. Amidst it all, Cassie sat unmoving, her quiet stillness starkly contrasting the escalating turmoil around her. As the audio unfolded, the conversation between Diddy and R. Kelly shifted from unsettling to outright disturbing. They spoke casually about manipulation, control and power, as though discussing mundane business strategies. Diddy's voice echoed through the courtroom, smooth and composed. "You don't let them think they've got a choice. That's where you lose them." R. Kelly responded immediately, his tone chillingly measured. "Exactly. Give too much freedom and you lose your edge. Keep them close. Keep them scared." Gasps rippled audibly through the gallery, jurors exchanged uneasy glances, and even the judge appeared visibly disturbed. Cassie sat frozen, eyes locked forward, her hands clasped so tightly her knuckles had turned white. The words weren't just damaging, they revealed something deeper and more sinister, a system, coldly calculated and disturbingly routine, laid bare in voices calm enough to send chills down every spine in the room. The tape clicked off abruptly, plunging the courtroom into a stunned silence that felt heavier than the voices themselves. For several seconds no one dared to move. Jurors sat rigid, their expressions a mixture of horror and disbelief. Even seasoned journalists had momentarily abandoned their notes, pencils suspended mid-air. A woman in the back row sobbed quietly, tears streaking her cheeks as she stared blankly at Cassie, connecting through an invisible thread of shared pain. Cassie herself remained remarkably composed, eyes fixed firmly ahead, her stillness speaking louder than any words could. Across from her, Diddy sat frozen, stripped of the charismatic aura he'd carried for decades. His eyes, once confident and commanding, were now clouded with uncertainty and fear. Attorneys scrambled silently to recover their composure, exchanging urgent whispers as the gravity of the moment settled around them. Everyone present knew instinctively something irreversible had just occurred, something powerful enough to shift narratives, shatter reputations, and alter lives forever. The courtroom's uneasy silence was abruptly pierced by Diddy's lead attorney, who rose swiftly, voice tight with anxiety, and tried desperately to object, claiming the recording was prejudicial and taken out of context. But the prosecutor, with measured calmness, immediately raised a document, a forensic analysis verified by 2 independent audio experts, confirming the recording's authenticity and airtight chain of custody. Judge Harmon, visibly shaken yet decisive, overruled the objection, his voice unsteady but firm, signalling clearly that this revelation could not simply be dismissed. As the audio played further, the jury heard explicit references to blackmail, carefully orchestrated NDAs, and the chilling phrase, "You keep their families involved, it makes them think twice." Each revelation deepened the sense of horror, systematically dismantling any remaining defences. Cassie, unmoved but determined, absorbed the truths that mirrored her own experiences, while across the room, Diddy's carefully crafted facade visibly crumbled. The empire he had meticulously built on silence, fear and control was unraveling rapidly, and nothing his legal team said or did could slow its collapse. Just when it seemed the revelations couldn't get more shocking, the prosecutor calmly announced their next witness, a name that sent immediate ripples through the courtroom: Talia Morgan. Her appearance was completely unexpected. She wasn't listed on any public witness roster, yet many immediately recognized her name. A former assistant to Diddy, Talia had disappeared abruptly from public view years earlier, fueling rampant speculation about her exit. As she entered, shoulders squared and gaze unwavering, a heavy silence settled again, anticipation thick in the air. Taking the oath without hesitation, she spoke clearly and deliberately, detailing a culture of fear, manipulation, and coercion she witnessed firsthand. Her voice trembled only slightly as she revealed how she'd secretly recorded conversations similar to the one just heard, conversations she ultimately turned over to federal investigators. Talia recounted threats, intimidation tactics, surveillance, and her own harrowing decision to vanish completely, choosing safety over silence. As her testimony concluded, eyes across the courtroom connected in shared disbelief and validation. Cassie finally met Talia's gaze, a subtle but powerful moment of recognition passing silently between them. Two women united in truth, resilience, and an unspoken promise that the secrets they had carried for so long would finally find a voice. Just as the courtroom was absorbing Talia Morgan's powerful revelations, the prosecutor announced another startling development. A federal inquiry had officially been launched, prompted by the chilling audio and subsequent testimony. Murmurs erupted instantly. Journalists scrambled to report the breaking news, typing furiously into their phones, their faces pale with urgency. Diddy's legal team, visibly rattled, rose again to protest, labeling the development irrelevant and prejudicial. But their objections were swiftly overruled by Judge Harmon, whose tone now carried unmistakable gravity. As federal subpoenas were confirmed, Diddy's demeanor shifted sharply. Gone was the poised, powerful persona. He now appeared diminished, visibly shrinking into his chair, eyes downcast, the confident tap of his fingers reduced to a nervous tremble. The courtroom atmosphere thickened with tension and anticipation, everyone acutely aware that this was no longer just about a civil trial. It had transformed into a watershed moment, threatening to unravel decades of influence, secrecy, and power. The world was watching, and the ripple effect was about to reshape not just one man's empire, but the industry itself. The momentum intensified as witness after witness stepped forward, each testimony another blow to the crumbling fortress of secrecy surrounding Diddy's empire. A former studio technician took the stand, his calm voice detailing the systematic deletion of damning recordings, meticulously labelled as insurance, that documented control and manipulation. Next, an anonymous statement was read aloud, painstakingly outlining experiences of coercion, pressured contracts, and discreet threats woven into everyday operations. Each revelation painted a disturbing portrait of an intricate web sustained by intimidation and fear. Emotional testimony resonated powerfully throughout the courtroom, voices trembling, eyes glistening, revealing personal costs far beyond financial settlements or NDA clauses. Jurors listened intently, visibly moved, their expressions shifting from shock to determination. Cassie, ever silent, seemed to draw strength from each voice that joined hers, reinforcing a collective narrative impossible to dismiss or silence any longer. With each witness, the trial transcended celebrity scandal. It had become an urgent reckoning, exposing deep institutionalized abuse and ensuring the world could no longer turn away. As the courtroom quieted once more, all eyes turned to Cassie as she rose slowly from her seat to deliver her closing statement. Standing poised before the judge, her voice was soft yet resolute, each word carefully measured and deeply impactful. "I never imagined standing here," she began, her tone steady. "Not because I doubted my truth, but because I believed no one would listen. Power has a way of silencing those beneath it, making us feel invisible, isolated and afraid." She paused briefly, the silence intensifying the weight of her words. "But silence is not consent and fear is not weakness. I am here today, not just for myself, but for every voice that's still hidden in the shadows. This isn't about revenge, it's about accountability, justice, and the fundamental right to speak without fear. The courtroom, captivated and deeply moved, absorbed every word. Jurors sat forward in quiet solidarity, spectators wiping tears, recognizing the strength it took to stand against immense power. Cassie's statement had transformed the trial into a powerful catalyst for change, echoing beyond the courthouse walls into a broader call for truth and accountability. Outside the courthouse, the world was already erupting. News alerts lit up phones like wildfire. Shout Diddy trial, shout the tape, and Cassie Speaks trended across every platform within minutes. The leaked audio had gone viral, and Talia Morgan's testimony was being dissected on live streams, podcasts, and in comment sections flooded with survivor stories. Influencers posted raw reactions. Former industry insiders began hinting at their own experiences. What had started as a tightly controlled civil case had become a cultural flashpoint, a rupture in the entertainment industry's carefully curated silence. Inside the courthouse, Diddy's once pristine legal machine was visibly cracking. His lawyers scrambled to control the narrative, but their responses rang hollow next to the avalanche of voices now echoing outside. No statement could outpace the tape. No PR spin could rewrite what had already been heard. The courtroom wasn't just a battleground for one trial anymore. It had become the epicenter of a movement. Power, once an impenetrable shield, was now bleeding credibility. And as the world watched, something rare and irreversible was unfolding. A reckoning, long overdue, fueled not by gossip, but by undeniable, unedited truth. When Judge Harmon returned to the bench, his demeanor reflected the weight of everything that had unfolded. He didn't deliver a grand finale. He didn't need to. His words were measured, solemn. This court acknowledges that a trial is not the final truth, but often the first step toward it. The gavel struck, not like a declaration of closure, but like the cracking of something long fortified. Power, silence, impunity. Outside there were no celebrations, only a quiet collective breath. Survivors around the country were watching, not for spectacle, but for validation. This wasn't an ending, it was an unsealing. More subpoenas were in motion. Federal agents had already stepped in. Witness lists were expanding. Whispers from within the industry hinted that what had been revealed so far was only the beginning. And while Diddy sat still, motionless, surrounded by lawyers who now wore the look of men preparing for war, Cassie sat differently. She didn't cry, she didn't speak. She didn't need to. Her silence no longer felt like submission. It felt like strength. Because the truth was no longer a secret. It was rising. And the world wasn't turning away this time, it was leaning in.